Okay, I love DragonCon for many reasons. One, I'm from Atlanta. I love fandoms. I'm like big into well, if it's TV related, I watch it. You know, they're like, "Do you play this?" I'm like, I'm too busy watching everything. Um, but yeah, DragonCon I've been coming to for easily over a decade. I've done panels as a sound person, as a boom operator, and I've just like I've always loved coming, and I'd always like I don't know, I'd always be here like at 8 p.m. and I'd be leaving like at 4 a.m. for the parties, obviously, but but seeing all that, but it's I don't know, it's fun seeing Atlanta just sort of like celebrate this thing that's Atlantan, and not so much it's closed down because everywhere else in the country or world, wherever, like holidays and stuff. I like that this is like the Atlanta holiday week, and it's also DragonCon is like the kick. Like even as a Jew, I still like Christmas. I still, I like the lights in the trees, and I like looking at it. And I always feel like it used to be like Halloween sort of starts the holidays, but to me, I'm always like, oh, DragonCon it starts, then we have Halloween, as we Thanksgiving, then we do the Christmas, New Year's, and then Valentine's Day if I'm not being like a terrible husband, and then my birthday. So it's a good, and then I sit for 6 months and I wait. But yeah. Starts with DragonCon, the holiday season.
What got you started into impressions?
Impressions are as like what got me started in impressions is sort of like how the same way we hear a song and we want to sing along to it, or but you sort of want to mimic the sound, or you hear a bird and you whistle at it. So it's sort of you just want to, how did they make that sound? And then impressions is sort of like the beginning also of what gets you into acting in a way. Because sometimes, people do the voice. They can do a voice of somebody, but then they don't have the same, they're not imitating sort of the emotion or like the reason why they, like how they say things, like why does it sound like that? So you hear people do the walk-ins, and you're like, the one I've been, you'll blame Ross. He's gonna be like, why did you mention my name? But we just like doing the Trump imitation just because it's so like distracting. Like on set, it's one of the most distracting things, and it's like, okay, everybody, we're going back to number one. Everybody, start your places. It's gonna be a beautiful shot. We're gonna make it excellent, and so you do this thing, but then how do you go question like, oh, it's a guy that feels like. I always say it because like it's a soothing voice, but it's like he's never wrong in his mind. So if you say something so confidently and everything I tell you is going to be completely the best thing you've ever heard, you're welcome. And it sort of adds a little bit. You put a little bit of that. Why does he sound like that? And so that's the same thing though when you're looking at a character. When you're given a script, you go, huh? Why are they saying that line? And a lot of people they want to change the dialogue, and I'm like. Yeah, that's the easy part, but it's like you can change dialogue and make it sound better for you. But in my mind, I'm like, but why did they say it like that? So we're going to, and I've played characters where I'm like, what am I saying? Why am I, I said like, the character, he says very odd things. And I'm like, I've never heard this phrase in my life. And you have to find find a reason why they say that. So impressions, I listen, Cooper Andrews does Donald Trump. That's going to be great. But the impressions, it comes from that. I kind of want to know why they make that sound. Like we listen to a bird, so it's like, here's my imitation of a bird. So I like to whistle. When they can't talk about movies, they talk about whistling. So you hear a bird, like, I'm like, oh, it does this little, and you have all these. I don't know. So I like impersonating animals too. I'm terrible at it, but I feel like when you watch a dog. They give you all the emotion and none of the dialogue, and you can sort of see it. So when you see like a dog, they tell a lot with their ears, but even not, as an actor, you can still like tilt your head and go, why? And then you just, so I study I study animals more than humans because animals are honest and humans, we're all, when actors like, oh, I watched this actor and I learned from them. I'm like, yeah, you're learning a part of them, but I feel like to get true honesty, follow an animal. Unless there's a dog, that you're a lying dog. I'm like, I've never seen a dog lie down, but not like be deceptive. They try to be, and they're terrible at it. That's why we go, oh, come here. Get away from that area. Let me show you this, you know? And it's like, what are you hiding? Nothing. I just love you and I miss you. So I don't know. That kind of I don't know how we got to there, but yeah. that's
what are your top 3 impressions?
My top 3 impressions, I like doing a James Earl Jones. Everything the light touches is this, because he has this way of enunciating his mouth, and it's big and wide. And so when he says it all, then he has this, he's fighting that mumble he had. So as his words and everything he says, you know, you enunciate everything. And then so like, what is that like flesh stronger than steel? He says STEEL, but you can hear each vowel in every word he says. So that's sort of like, and people sometimes try to throw in like this little British thing, but it's not quite that. He just uses the full word and makes, so the new Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages. So like my James Earl Jones, that was a little rough, but like my James Earl Jones, we've been sort of having fun. This is a terrible one, but doing like a J.K. Simmons. We're just sort of like, think, Mark. You sort of like, you bring this in like farmers insurance. I can't, oh my God, terrible. But like, it's all about these the impression isn't just vocally. You're looking at like, why, you know, am I rushing or dragging? It's this, he has this thing where he like sort of like chokes it on his cheeks. And so I've been messing with that. You know, the Donald Trump, I like doing, I always have this thing where Trump is like trying to hide in different countries. So it's like, I've been, oh yes, I've been coming here for Ireland my entire life. I'm a big fan of the beautiful greenery, and he's just trying to hide from wherever, you know, you can put him in any like thing. So different accents, different Trump accents. I've been like imagining him like wearing like mustaches and like just trying to hide around. And he's like, I'm just a world traveler going around in my pot of gold. Then I mean, there's other, I like imitating, I imitate my friends. So I imitate like a lot of, you know, people that are around me more than, if I haven't met them, it's a little harder. So when you meet somebody, you can sort of really get into that. I have a Zach. I sort of have a Zach, but it's more of like, it's a very, he's very direct, and he because he wants to, what I love about Zach is like, he wants to make sure, one, you get your answer, and he's also wants to make sure everyone else gets their answer. So he speaks so quickly that every time Zach talks, I'm like, I'm keeping up. I'm so awesome today. I'm listening so good. They don't ask a question. Darn it. What do you say it again? All of it. But no, Zach, his energy is like hard to imitate because he's like, oh yeah, no, and he'll probably be standing, and he, you know, so energetic, always knows what to say. That's my Zach Levi.
Now, Hollywood has a very keen on their certain aesthetics that they want for their actors, but you have become a beacon for plus-size male representation in cinema. How does it feel to be literally an iconic man in television and movies, and how did you move around those rigid beauty standards?
Yeah, it's hard. You know, the biggest thing on that thing we did is like, how are you so big in a world like this? How are you alive? And I'm like, you must have not met a lot of Samoans, because we can move. But no, to me, I've always been, you know, I get to these points where I'm like, you look at yourself, I'm like, what have I done? What did you do to your body, kind of thing? But it's usually not like that. I've always been, as long as I can still kick above my head, which now that I said it, I guess I need to show you I can kick above my head. Even in jeans, I'm just taking a thing out. Okay, so I guess it's going to be a slow, terrible kick. Let me just, okay, so, oh, shoot. Yeah, so if I can, the jeans held me back. But if I can still move, like if I still have like my flexibility, don't have my cardio, and also I have my sweet badges. By the way, my dragoncon badges. I should. Okay, you got a few more, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, so to me, because I still feel good about myself. I have, you know, I'm happy. I can, you know, I don't die going upstairs. And it's really, to me, it's not just about looks, it's just like how you feel. So I do a lot of muscle. I work on a lot of people's muscles, and I work on mine constantly because I'm like, ooh, that shouldn't be feeling that way. So I like getting rid of a lot of the pain. So unfortunately, because of that, I don't realize where I'm at because I just feel like, oh, I'm loose. I can do cartwheels. We're good. So yeah, I just don't. I just be me. I'm happy who I am. Sometimes I'd like to know I can run a little farther, but it's still yeah, I feel like there's so many big guys that can handle themselves. And I'm like, well, he's small. I'm like, okay, well, great. He can run faster, but big guys know how to, kill zombies.
So from Dunwoody High School, like, how did you get into acting? Ooh. Was that something that you were like in theater nerd, or you found it a different way?
So I went to Dunwoody. I actually never graduated Dunwoody. I never graduated high school, just to make that. Someone wrote a thing like, oh, he graduated high school in 03. I dropped out with 3 weeks left. I was so afraid I would do anything. I wasn't a great student anyway, but to me, school's great for people that know what to do with school. I knew I wanted to work in movies. I didn't know as what. I didn't care as what. I just knew I wanted to help create like this, like a fantasy for folk. To me, it's like entertainment. I love the idea. It's like, we can make anything. It's like, we can be on a spaceship right now, or, we can go be, in a, underground little town. We can just make it out of cardboard and lights, and that's the joy of it. So you can just take your head out and be everywhere. So in Dunwoody, we had a lot of one-act plays, and as our teacher, Miss Barnett, and now they have a theater. Dunwoody now has a theater. I haven't seen it, but they have a big glass, and it's like a theater. I was performing on on the cafeteria stage. I remember adapting a radio play and turning that into a one act. But I wasn't like a theater nerd. I mean, also internet wasn't rocking, so I didn't whatever music was like whoever was able to show me something. And but yeah, we would do like all the school plays. That was the only big deal, but like, this is not a big deal, but I was like the only like 9th grader that was acting. And then I stayed in the drama club for the 4 years, and all our school projects which is what got me through a lot of classes, was like, oh, write a report, or you can make a little project, which in my case, we would make video projects like high 8 tapes and, make a little movie. And then I would get, an A on that. So that helped me survive. But yeah, high school was a massive, and I was in the marching band. Like, I loved the marching band, but it was all that theatrical stuff was a big part of where it went, because it just lets you, it lets you go into that fantasy world. You're making music. We had, when we were, I was a drum major, we had like a giant, like a spider and spider web on the football field, and I was on a ladder that was like way too tall. It was like a 12-step, and I'm literally on the very top, and then I was doing this for like 6 shows, and then eventually administration was like, hey, there's not a student on top of that ladder. We can't have that. And I always like doing the little Jackie Chan slide down the ladders, and my little vampire cape would float up, and it probably felt way cooler than it really was. It probably looked like, that's not cool, dude. It's not the angle you think it is. But yeah, so Dunwoody, as the social aspect, I thought was like so important. I really loved like a lot of the kids I went to school with. I didn't say that like that at the time, but like when you look back, I really did have one of those cool high schools. There's always like, in movies, there's like, oh, that's the clique. You have all these different groups, and we had our different groups, but everyone was so cool with each other. There was no like, oh, what, you study math, nerd? Like there's none of that. It was a very, like, if people had an issue with each other, it wasn't because of anything except something actually personal between the two. So when I see like those high school movies where everyone's like picking on the one kid, I'm like, if that existed, I didn't see it, but like, I feel like it wasn't. Some kids were like, it was Cooper, you didn't know. I was like, darn it. But I felt like it wasn't. I hope it wasn't.
All right, and unfortunately, we are running out of time.
Oh, wait, one more.
Do you do your own stunts?
Do I do my own stunts? Yeah. Except the one time when I was in a thing, I had a surgery, and they had to put a harness on me. But yeah, and I couldn't put the harness on me. So I had a buddy of mine, double as me, and it was very important I was like, don't look cool. we're gonna do this thing that's already impossible, so don't look cool when you land. Just look like. And so that was key to me. I don't like having a stunt double that's gonna look like that's because we're playing the same character. I'm not trying to make them do a thing that I can't or can do. But if my character would not do that. So I have a stunt person, which stunt people are great. A lot of my best friends are stunt people, and yeah, I have no issue having other people do my stunts. I just haven't. I've only had it the one time, but yeah, I like to do my own.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Zach's gonna be like, I heard your impression, bro. Let me show you mine.
This is Ross Marquand, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight, which is awesome. So like, share, and subscribe. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.